Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to model the trees and we're going to model this sign also. And so these trees are very simple. In fact, it's just one tree and then I just duplicated it all over the place. So it really is one tree with some variations. And the sign is also very simple. We'll model the sign, we'll model the trees. Not a big deal. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. This is our scene that we've been building. This is where we built the snowman. In fact, I've got the ground here. It's just hidden. I'm going to turn it on here in the outliner. And this is the scene that we've been building. We did the snowman already. If you haven't seen the videos, you can go check out those videos. But this is the snowman. I'm going to turn on the viewport shading. And you can see that we've got the ground. We've got all the snowman. So I'm going to select all of it and hide it. Hit H to hide, and we're going to model the tree. So we're going to start by adding, maybe modeling the trunk. So Shift A to add, and we're going to add a cylinder. And we're going to change it to 24 vertices, sides, and then the radius is fine. And instead we're going to change this end-gon to a triangle fan. So here's our cylinder, and that's going to become our trunk. One for the front view. I'm going to move it up, and I am going to go to the top view, 7. I'm also going to go to edit mode, tab. Here's edit mode. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to just select some random vertex. You can do every other one or just random. Like you could skip 2, do 1, skip 2, do 1. It doesn't matter. This is just to give it a little bit of variance. I'm going to hit the size and then push them in. Oh, you see what happened? We only selected the top one. So I'm going to undo that. Turn on X-ray. Go to the top view. And then just select them again. Hold down the shift. Alright, cool. And then hit S and scale them in. I just want to give this tree a little bit of, character. You notice that the scale also went down, and that's okay. We can fix that. And we can scale up in the Z. So hit S and Z, and then we can scale it up just to fix that that little problem. Now I'm going to select all the top ones, and I am going to guess more or less how tall this tree is, and then I'm going to scale them in to make it pointy like that. It just gives me a nice tapered from thick to thin. Also want to do a lot of sections here, so I'm going to do loop cuts. Remember, that is Command R. You see one right there with the scroll wheel. I'm going to make a bunch of them, maybe to there, and then left click and then right click. The reason I did this is because I do want to add a little bit of variance, so I'm just going to start moving this stuff so we can add a little bit of variance in the tree, how it's not always that straight. So just move this a little bit, not that much. We don't want to overdo it. I'm going to come to the side view, just press number 3, and then I'm going to do the same and just push these over a little bit, just so that there's a little bit of a variance. And then I'm going to do the last row, hit S, and then make it a little bit thicker, just like that. We want to give the bottom part just a little thicker. Alright, this is our tree trunk. It's not going to have any branches because you're not going to see them. So we're going to do the leaves now, or in this case, it's a pine tree. We're going to do the pine needles, or the bulk of the tree. or the branches with the pine needles. I'm going to hit tab to go to object mode, and I'm going to just move this to the side. I'm going to create another cylinder. Shift A, cylinder. 24 sides is fine. 1 meter is fine. We'll leave everything triangle fan here on the cap field type. Select triangle fan, and I'm just going to accept that. Here, I'm going to hit period on the numpad to zoom in, and number 1 to go to the front view. I am going to hit tab to go to edit mode, select all the vertices, and then hit S, and then hit Z to scale only up and down, like that. And then so I'm gonna scale it considerably to that I can get a disc like this. I'm gonna go to the top view, hit period, and then what I'm gonna do is, having the X-ray turned on, if I don't have it on and I select 2 vertices like right here, you'll know that it only selected the top one. So I have to have this on so that when I do this, it selects both of them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the top view, number 7. And I'm going to select the one to the right of the center one, this one. And I'm going to move it, but I'm not just going to move it freely like this. I'm going to move it straight down the line here, the edge, by clicking G twice, GG, and then I can move it close to that edge, like that. Select this one on the other side, GG, and then move it to there. And you don't have to be super accurate, GG, because this is a tree. I mean, we're gonna rotate it and move it around anyway for some variation. So GG, move it here. Some can be closer than others. It's okay. So the one on the left, GG, bring it up to this one, the one on the right, GG, there. And so GG, or the G twice, just instead of just G, a free move, you could actually do that as well. Just hit G and then just move it. But if you do G twice, it just constrains it, and it's a little easier. Up to you. G, not constrained. G twice, constrained. I kind of prefer hitting G twice. It's a little easier. All right, now that we've got all of them, this is going to make for the leaves. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the middle ones now, all the middle ones. I'm holding shift, just the middle ones. There, 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 and this one. And I'm going to do scale, and I'm going to scale it in. I just want to give that a little bit of a notch right there. Cool. And then, like I said, I'm going to grab all 3 of these vertices, and I can move these anywhere I want. And I just want to move them a little bit to give it, again, an organic feel. Make sure that they're not so uniform. It's a tree. It doesn't have to be all uniform and aligned. So now that we've given it some variance, I'm going to select the middle one. Notice that I did a box selection. I just don't click on it because that only selects the top one. Box select the middle one. That selects the one at the bottom. I am going to do front view or side and then move it up. kind of to there. And so that is the tree branches. Hit tab to the go to the object mode. You'll notice that my tree branches are way smaller than my tree trunk. So I'm going to remedy that. I'm just going to hit S to scale, and then I'm going to move it over. Let's say go to front view. I'm just going to place it on the ground. I just want it right on the center for now. And this one, I am going to place it right here. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to move that origin point or the pivot point to the top. So with that selected, I'm going to go here to the options, and I'm just going to click on origins. And that's going to move my origin point only. And I'm going to move it to the top and then put it back, click it off. So that way, when I rotate it, it'll rotate from that tip. So I'm going to scale it. This is the bottom one. I'm going to put it about right there. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Shift D to duplicate. And then just place it on top and scale. As we go up, we'll scale down. Shift D to duplicate. S to scale. Shift D to duplicate. S to scale. And then I want to do another S, Z to scale only vertically. And I'm going to push it down like that. And then Shift D to duplicate. Click where you want it. Scale. And then scale Z. And then Shift D to duplicate. Scale. And then scale Z that way. And so there it is. There's a tree. I'd like to give it a little bit of variance here in the front view. I'm just going to rotate these just slightly. And then also in the side view, we just don't want it too symmetrical. And then also in the top view, I'd like to do this one this way, this one that way, this one this way, that one this way, that one, oops, this way, and then this one that way. And there's our tree. All we have to do now is color it and then combine it. So this one would be, I'm going to go to the materials tab, create a new material. We'll call this tree trunk, and painted brown. And then these, you can paint them green, or you can paint them white, depending on what you want. Here I'm just going to make a new material, and we're going to call this tree leaves or tree branches. And we're going to paint them green. Like that. Notice that it only applied to one. If you click this little arrow, we've done this before. And you can do copy materials to select it. Boom. There it is. And there's our tree. The last thing I'm going to do, since I would like to just grab one object and have it move the whole tree instead of having to select multiple objects, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to select multiple objects, all of them, and then hit Command J to join. And that makes it one whole object. And if I hit G, I can select it wherever I clicked. It's just one object because we joined it. I'm going to undo that right there. And I'm going to hide it. Let's call this tree. and hide it. Let's do the sign. The sign is easy. The sign is 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, one in the middle, five boxes total, and the text. Let's create one of the planks. Shift A to add a cube. And of course, let's scale it. I'm going to scale it this big, and this thick. It's just like a plywood. I'm going to move it, G, right there. I am going to duplicate it, Shift D, on the X, however big you want your sign, Shift D, I'm going to move it right there, and then rotate. Right there. I'm going to adjust these just slightly. I kind of do want to see a little bit of a overlap, and then Shift D to duplicate, and then Shift D to duplicate again. This will be the plank inside, and then we're going to make it a little smaller and quite bigger and a little thinner right there, just so we could see that edge right there. If you want to make some of these thicker, you can. We can make these thicker. But there it is. There's the sign. We're going to make the snow on top of it. So I'm going to select this plank, Shift D to duplicate, and I'm going to put it right there. And I am going to make it a little thicker. And then I am going to go into edit mode. We're going to add some divisions. So Command R, and then we're going to do the scroll wheel to add, maybe to there, and then left click and then right click. So we've got a box with more divisions, but it doesn't look like snow. So let me go ahead and hit number 1, and I am going to go to object mode, and in object mode go to the modifiers tab. We're going to add a modifier, and it's going to be the subdivision surface modifier, and you see it round off right there. Let's crank it to 2, and it's a little bit rounder, and all we have to do now is model it. So let's go into tab to edit mode, and I'm going to select these, every other one, and then push it up like that, and then select these, and then push them up, and then maybe these, push them over, these, push them over, these. Let's go to the front view. I think it's a little easier, and then these, we're going to push them out. And so that's kind of it. We can select all these and push them down and start modeling whatever you want the snow to look like. It's up to you. I'm going to push these down and all of these up a little. And that's basically what I did. If I hit tab to go to object mode, there's my snow cap on top of the sign. If that's a little bit too big, maybe it is, we can always size it just a little bit. There we go. So let's go ahead and color these. I'm going to select this one plank and go to the materials tab, create a new material, and let's call this wood, and painted a light brown. I'm going to select all of them right there, and then go to here and then select, there it is, and then copy material to selected. Here we go. And then this is snow, so I believe there's a snow right there, snow. And we forgot to right click and shade smooth so that it can look smooth. And then this is the sign. Let's create a new one and call it sign. And then we'll leave it white. So let's select everything and do a Command J to join. Command J. But you notice that our modifier went away. Why did this happen? I'm going to undo that. And so what we need to do is apply this modifier. Go to the modifiers tab and you'll see the subdivision modifier on this. And when you click this little arrow, we're going to hit apply. So it's going to apply this subdivision surface modifier to this object. And so let's go ahead and click and apply. You see that it went away, and this is no longer has a modifier. It's a polygon object. So if I select them all again, do Command J, we're good. We're good. And that's the sign. Oh, except for we forgot the letters, and that's going to be next. Let's go ahead and hit Shift A, and instead of mesh now, let's go to text. And see the text down here? It usually is facing up. So I'm just going to go to the 7, the top view, so we can see this text. And the only way you can select it, I'm going to put it over here in the front. And this is the top view. So the only way to type out is if you go to edit mode. Hit tab and you get the cursor. And you can say Merry Christmas. Or whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say in this sign. We're going to go to the text properties. We're going to do, instead of left justified, center justified. Boom, there it is. Here's where we can change the font. Here. Make it bold, italic, or underlined. The size. Under the geometry tab is where we can extrude it. So let me go to a perspective view so we could see this extrusion happen. I'm going to go to the geometry tab here in the text properties. I've got my text selected and extrude. And so we see the extrusion now. I'm just going to extrude it a little bit. And we can also put on a bevel. And so this bevel, you can see the bevel. Let me zoom in. Except I am going to do a profile. You can't see it very well, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on rendered view. And you see the bevel. So I'm just going to do very, very tiny bevel. It's too much. Let me try 0.05. 0.005. There it is. That's all I want. It's just a tiny little bevel. And so resolution 4 is fine. And we're going to leave it at that. The only other thing I'm going to do is let me zoom out. Hit tab to go back to object mode. Hit period to zoom in on it. And let's, I want to go back to the shaded view. And, of course, color. Create a material. Let's call this letters. And then let's pick a red. There you go. All I got to do now is actually just place it on the sign. So I'm going to bring it up. I am going to rotate it. Hold down the control key to do 90 degrees. And then I am going to move it into place. Just to move it right into place. 1. And then size it. I think that's good enough. And there it is. Let me bring back the tree. Here's our tree, bring it back. Our tree might be a little bit big. Let's move this sign over and let's bring back everything. Let's do Option H to unhide everything. Now you can see that the tree might be a little bit small, so we need to scale that. And the sign might be a little bit big, so let's scale that. S to scale. We're going to bring it down and then put it right next to the snowman. And there it is, guys. We have modeled everything. We've got the snowman modeled, we got the sign modeled, we've got the tree modeled. In the next video, we're gonna put the scene together and then maybe even light it. So look out for the next video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you guys.